Welcome back, guys, to the Andrew Dillich podcast. Okay, guys, let's start it off immediately. Reality check. Gotta talk about everything. So let me start off with Messi recently did an interview. I forgot. I think it's an Argentinian journalist. He did it with him, and then they talked about everything, right? Not just football. They talked about his personal life and everything he likes to do inside the pitch, outside the pitch, at home, with his friends, at the bar, at the restaurant, wherever. And then so many people, I see so many comments, people saying that he's autistic. This just proves how autistic he is, blah, blah, blah. There's always been speculations of Messi being autistic. First of all, we're all a little bit autistic, some are more, some are less, but we're all on the scale, right? We're all on the, like, who's more autistic, he's less, he's more, he's a little bit. I think that we're all a little bit on it. Well, Messi, if we're being honest, all the haters, you guys know he's not autistic. Yes, what he is introverted. He is an introvert. And he is a little bit shy in social settings. And he prefers being alone, which is what introverts in general prefer. And of course, Ronaldo, who isn't really an introvert, he's more of an extrovert. He doesn't mind going on podcasts. He doesn't mind being in the public eye, talking to everyone about everything. That's his personality. But to go as far as to say that Messi is a full-blown autistic individual, now that's fucking crazy. Why? Because you can see many videos, you can see many conversations he had with his teammates, with journalists, with his coaches, with random people, with his wife, on the internet, on television, whatever. You can see that he's not a full-blown autistic guy. He's a normal guy who's an introvert and who is a little bit socially shy and not awkward, but he just doesn't like being that much in the public eye as much as Neymar did, or Neymar still does, or as much as Ronaldo does and many other players. So I just wanted to make that clear. Messi is not autistic. There's no evidence to back it. Now, is he on the scale? We all are. So to answer that question, yes, we all are. But he's not a full-blown autistic individual. I know you guys want to bring him down, want to hate on him. For people who love Cristiano and hate the fact that he's a million times better than Ronaldo, like 10 million times better than Ronaldo. Of course, you're going to look for something to bring him down, but he's not autistic. And that's just crazy. He is introverted. I agree. And a little bit, he is shy socially. He was way more shy when he was younger. Now that he's like 38, he's been in the public eye and in front of the camera for like many, many years now, 20 plus years. So now he doesn't really care anymore. So that's why he's way less shy in front of the camera, but he's still not like Ronaldo, like Neymar, like all these guys are a bit less shy in front of the camera and many other people. And also, if I might add, Ronaldo is close to hitting 1,000 goals. Phenomenal achievement, amazing achievement, one of the greatest achievements in footballing history. Whether Ronaldo probably easily will achieve 1,000 goals, 1,000 career goals. He'll achieve it. Perfect. Messi is also close to it. Although Messi is 2-3 years younger than Ronaldo, and Ronaldo is closer to that 1,000 goal, Messi will probably also achieve 1,000 goals. But if I go statistically, and if I go logically, I suppose that Ronaldo will finish his career with more career goals than Messi. And the reason why is it's not because Ronaldo is a better goal scorer. He isn't. Messi is a better goal scorer. The only reason that Ronaldo will finish his career with more goals scored than Messi is because he's more selfish and more obsessed with scoring goals. If Messi was as selfish as Ronaldo and as obsessed with scoring goals as Ronaldo, Messi right now would have 2,000 goals. He would easily have 2,000 goals. Now, forget about him being as selfish and as obsessed with scoring goals as Ronaldo. If he was half as selfish as Ronaldo and half as obsessed as Ronaldo when it comes to scoring goals, Messi would already have 2,000 goals. If he was as obsessed as Ronaldo and as selfish as Ronaldo, he would currently have 4,000 goals. Quick math, half the selfishness of Ronaldo, 2,000 goals. 100%, same level of selfishness and obsession as Ronaldo for scoring goals, 4,000 goals. 2,000 for 50%, 4,000 for 100%. I'm not good at math, but that makes a lot of fucking sense in my mind. So that's that's the only reason why Ronaldo has more goals than Messi. Not because he's a better goal scorer, Not because he was more lucky. I don't know. The only reason why is because Ronaldo is way more selfish, way more selfish, and way more self-obsessed with scoring goals than Messi is and than Messi ever was. And that's the only reason why. So that was it for football. Now let's get into the real reality check. Let's get it. Without confidence, skill and intelligence mean nothing. If you don't have confidence, you can have all the skills in the world, all the competency in the world, all the intelligence, the highest IQ, the most knowledgeable person on planet Earth. If you don't have the confidence to go and showcase it to the world, to go in front of a camera and showcase your skills, showcase your talent, to go and fight in the world and get what you want to get out of the world. If you don't have the confidence to go out in the real world and to get what you want, you'll never get what you want. Even like I said, even if you have all this skill, smartest guy on planet Earth, best looking guy, funniest guy, this, that, whatever. If you don't have the confidence to back it up, you're never going to accomplish anything. And there's going to be thousands of people, millions of people with way less talent than you, way less intelligence than you, way less competency than you, but they'll achieve way bigger things than you just because of one reason. Because they had more confidence than you did. So no matter what your talent is, no matter what the level of talent you have, you possess, no matter what cards God has dealt you, take that, thank God, and attack the world with full confidence. Always keep in mind that you can accomplish whatever you put your mind to. Whatever you want to accomplish, you can accomplish. That's the level of confidence you should have, despite the level of skill set, despite your competency, despite your intelligence, despite your beauty, despite your charisma, despite whatever. Always have the highest level of confidence. So many people throughout history, not just today, but throughout history, have accomplished the greatest things just simply by having confidence. Just simply by having confidence. Some of them don't even have intelligence. They're average. They have average intelligence, average IQ, or not, if maybe even not below average. Average looks, below average looks, average charisma, average competency, below average competency. And they've accomplished phenomenally big things, phenomenal things they've accomplished just because they have confidence. Let me give you one example, right? Donald J. Trump, twice President of the United States. If his resume was to end there, and if it was only that, that is one of the most accomplished individuals of all time. To be President of the United States is one of the greatest accomplishments any human being throughout history can accomplish. He was twice President of the United States, twice. And not only that, before that he became President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, he was now of course he did file for bankruptcies many times, this and that. But globality in general, when we talk about Donald Trump before your presidency, he's a successful businessman. Now, was he a billionaire? Did he have $400 million? Did he have $100 million? Did he have $800 million? Did he have $4 billion? Who knows? But altogether, when all is said and done, he is a successful businessman, Donald Trump. And just to be a successful businessman, and let's say multimillionaire, just to be conservative, just to be safe, he was easily a multimillionaire. To become a multimillionaire businessman, that is one of the biggest accomplishments any individual could have on planet Earth. And it's so rare that so few people ever become multimillionaires throughout life, throughout history. So just the fact that he accomplished that means that he's one of the most accomplished individuals of all time. And then on top of that, he became President of the United States not once but twice, serving 2 terms, because that's the max that a president can serve. Of course, Trump is talking about making it legal and writing in the Constitution that presidents are allowed to serve more than 2 terms. Of course, I am aware of his ambitions to serve a 3rd term. Who knows if that bill will pass? Personally, I hope it fucking passes. With everything that I'm going to talk about recently that he's been doing, Trump. I mean, you guys listen to news, listen to the radio, watch social media. You guys know everything that Trump did so far. A fucking top G, if I might add. But to get back to my main argument, I understand that his ambitions are to make it legal for him to run for a third term. If it happens or if it doesn't, at the end of the day, Trump being the person that he is now, with everything that he did in the past and everything that he accomplished, he is one of the most accomplished individuals of all time. He is. I'm not saying he's one of the smartest. Far from it. I don't know what his IQ score is, but he's average smart at the best. Average looking at the best, if I'm being kind. Average charisma, average competency, average everything at the best, if I'm being generous and just being generous, right? Regarding Donald J. Trump. But if you look at everything he accomplished, it's way, 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 way above average. And the only reason that a guy, as an individual who is average or below average when it comes to all spheres of life, the only reason that he accomplished that much is because he has one skill set that is above average and is in the top 0.000000001% when it comes to that skill. And that skill is confidence. When it comes to believing in yourself, when it comes to having self-confidence, Donald J. Trump is in the top 0.000000000000001 of all individuals to have ever existed and to ever exist. That's the only skill that he masters to the pinnacle, to the highest peak that you can master. And that's the only reason why he accomplished so fucking much. Hate him or love him, when you look at everything he accomplished, when it comes to becoming the best version of yourself and accomplishing the most that you can for your potential, he's a top dog. One of the greatest individuals of all time when it comes to that aspect of humanity and life. That's a fact. And the only reason why is because his level of confidence, of self-confidence, is through the roof. It's unheard of, and it's just fucking crazy, if I might add. And like I said, there are people way less competent than you, than me, than whoever, but there are people way less competent than what you are, way less smarter than what you are, way less intelligent, way less good looking, way less charisma, way less everything, but they're doing way bigger things than you. And the only reason why is because they have confidence and they have the balls to start something, they have the balls to fail, they have the will to keep on going no matter what happens, no matter what failure they face or rejection they face. They have the balls and the mental strength to keep going no matter what happens in their life. Even if they don't have talent, skill, intelligence, looks, whatever, they still have the balls, the audacity, the confidence, the determination, the persistence to keep going and to attack life with all your will and to never give up. That's what they have. That's why there are people in way better situations and in way better places than what you currently are, just because they have more confidence. Not because they're smarter or better looking or more competent or more educated or whatever. It's just because they have more confidence and they have more discipline. Put that together. You put ambition, you put the will to never give up, to never lose enthusiasm, even when you face failure and rejection many, many times, still keep going. That's why they're in the best places on planet Earth. And even if you're scared to do something that's out of your comfort zone, even if you're scared to do it, even if you don't know how to do it, even if you're clueless about it, even if you don't know where to start, how to start, why to start, if you have a why, if you have a reason why, just do it. Simple as that. I know it's corny, like the Nike ad, just do it, but it's a fact of life. Whatever you want to accomplish, whatever you want to do, even if you don't know how to start, how to do it, where to do it, when to do it, start as soon as possible. Because the more you wait, the harder it's going to get. And the more you wait, the more afraid you're going to get. I just talked recently with a guy yesterday, and he told me, when there is something that you fear, and I agree 100% with what he said, when there's something that you fear, right? And when you voluntarily don't face it, when you don't face it, when you ignore it and you don't face it, that fear just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. But when you voluntarily face it, so you're aware, okay, I fear doing this. Let's say it's approaching a girl at a bar. I'm afraid to approach this girl. Many reasons why. You can get rejected, public shame, not that much, but you can get rejected and face failure. And like everyone always says, the worst she can say is no. She's not gonna fucking hit you unless she's fucking crazy. But even if you're aware of that fear, the best thing to do for you and your life and for your soul, the best way to grow in that situation is to face that fear and to become a better person, not to run away from that fear. When you run away from that fear gets bigger and bigger. When you run away from that fear gets stronger and it has more power over you. But when you face it, when you go there and you face that fear, when you face it, it becomes smaller and smaller every single time. Every single time. If there's a guy who, let's say there's person A and person B, both persons are equally as scared to approach women. They're both equally, their level of being afraid to approaching girls is the same, right? Person A approaches 10 girls, person B approaches 1 girl. They both faced their fears, right? But this person did it 10 times. So this person is 10 times less afraid of what they were in the beginning of their fear than person B. That's how maths work. That's how life maths work. And that's a fact. When you're afraid to do something, sometimes when you just do it once, you're going to be less afraid, but you have to do it multiple times and constantly do it. No matter what happens, you keep doing it, you keep doing it, you keep doing it. And every single time that you do it, that fear shrinks. It becomes smaller and smaller and smaller until one day it just vanishes and doesn't exist anymore. That's how you fucking do it. So whatever you want to do, whatever you want to start, whatever your soul tells you to do, not your ego. Don't listen to your ego. Listen to your soul. Whatever your soul tells you to do, go and try to do a podcast. Go be a singer. Go to Hollywood. Go write a book. Go get your degree. Go get that job. Go get that girl. Whatever. When you face it, whatever you want to face, when you face it, the closer you are to getting it. So the quicker you face it, the quicker you're going to get to your goals and to your dreams. The quicker you're going to accomplish your dreams, the faster you face your fears and the faster you do everything you want to do. Don't care about what people say. No matter what you do in life, if you do what you want to do or if you don't do what you want to do, at the end of the day, people are going to judge you. No matter who you are, no matter what you do, people are going to judge you. The more accomplished an individual is, the more accomplished a person is, the more haters he has, and the more people hate on him. Why? Of course, envy, jealousy, and many other reasons why. So the more haters you have, the better it is. The more haters you have and the more hate you receive, that means that the better you are doing in life. If you go through life not having any haters and never having haters, I'm sorry to break it down to you, but your life is shit and you're not living life the way it should be lived and you're not doing everything you want to do and you're not accomplishing your dreams. Because if you were doing everything you want to do and you are slowly accomplishing your dreams and becoming the person you are meant to become and you want to become and your soul wants you to become, you're going to have haters and you're going to have a lot of hate. And the more haters you have and the more hate you face, the more successful you are in their eyes. That's how it works. That's the math between hate and success. That's the math. If you want to know how successful you are in life, count your haters. The more haters you have, the more successful you are. The more hate you face, the more success you face. That's how it works. Andrew Delich. The truth. We're all afraid of it. Some people more than others. Facing the truth, your inner truth, facing the truth about you, about life, about everything is scary. Why? Because it takes us out of our comfort zone and it puts us on the spot and it makes us realize that there are some things that we're not doing just because we're afraid to do them. And if we knew the truth behind many things that about us, and if we aren't afraid to face the truth about us, the quicker we're going to evolve and the quicker we are to becoming the person we are meant to become, and the quicker we will accomplish our dreams and accomplish our goals. The quicker we become, the quicker we face the truth of who we are and not hide from it, but face it. And then realize, okay, I do this because of that. Actually, you know what? I'm not that good when it comes to doing this. I should actually improve. Of course, your ego doesn't like hearing it, which is normal, but your soul likes hearing it and your soul needs to hear it in order for you to become a better person and in order for you to evolve as a human being. Knowing the truth, if you only have people around you who never tell you the truth and only tell you good things about yourself, first of all, no one's perfect, right? So you cannot, no matter who you are, there's something that someone can tell you in order for you to improve and become better, right? No matter who you are. Same goes for you, same goes for me, same goes for Elon Musk, Donald Trump, Lionel Messi, whoever, no matter how accomplished you are, no one's perfect, right? So the more you align yourself with people and you surround yourself with people who aren't afraid to tell you the truth, but constructive truth. There's a difference between constructive truth and just telling someone something that is true, but it's said out of hate and out of hatred, right? There is a difference. Let's say a guy is really short, right? He's 5'6", and he comes to see me, yo, Andre, like, if I was taller, I'd have a lot more girls, whatever. I could tell him the blatant truth and say, you know what, you're not getting girls because you're short. But what's the point? That's not constructive, right? What's the point of telling him that? There's nothing he can do about his height. Now, that's an example I took, but that is a good example. There's nothing he can do about it. So it's not constructive. It is the truth. He is short, but it's not constructive. So instead of telling him, you know what, grow, if you were taller, you'd get more girls, I can tell him the constructive truth. Yeah, maybe that is true what you just said, but it's not only about height. You can be really charismatic. You can be really smart. You can be really educated. You can have a lot of money. Also something else that attracts girls, right? When it comes to that sphere of life. So there is a difference between telling the truth out of hate and wanting to belittle that person and make fun of him. Let's say someone has a big nose, right? Oh, look how big of a nose you have. Ha, ha. Everyone starts laughing. You want to belittle him because it's something he can't change. Well, I mean, technically he can change it with plastic surgery and rhinoplasty. But you know what I mean? Like, he's born like that. That's different. But if someone tells you constructive truth, you know what? Let's say his name is Jimmy. Jimmy, don't take this badly. I'm your good friend. I wish you the best. But you are a bit overweight. If you were to slim down, go to the gym, you would not only feel better physically, but also mentally. And then since you look good, you feel good, you do good, and you just get better and better in life, and you get more out of life, and you feel better mentally, you accomplish more, you're happier, you're more in a peaceful state, you're more in a zen state, and you just feel better about life and about every situation, and life will just get better for you when it comes to relationships, when it comes to work, when it comes to job, when it comes to all spheres of life. Being in shape is just a plus, right? It's never a negative. It's never a negative. So that's the constructive way of telling the truth to help someone, right? Like, let's say someone listens to my podcast and tells me a constructive truth. Let's say fucking Joe Rogan listens to it, right? Someone who's 100 million times better than me and more accomplished than me. He can listen to my podcast. Of course, he's never going to have envy or jealousy or hate towards me because he's 10 million times bigger than me, right? So he cannot have that. And if he was to tell me the truth, you know what, Andre, maybe if you did this or that, or maybe if you tried this or that, I think it will be better for you. That's constructive truth. But if you have a guy, I'll just take me again, for example, a random guy who never did anything, and he just tells me out of hate, he tells me something, oh, you should stop doing that. What you're doing is not good. It's not worth shit. Then maybe he is saying it out of love. Maybe that's just his way of saying it out of love. But of course, if we look at the global generality of why people say those things to other people, it's more to belittle them and to bring them down and to just hate on them. So of course, you have to understand, you have to see where, of course, as they say, don't take criticism from someone you wouldn't take advice. There's also that. You shouldn't take fucking advice from everyone. I mean, if a guy doesn't know what he's talking about, like this happens many times with athletes, right? Soccer players. Many times soccer players, or I had many MMA fighters on my podcast, they said that sometimes a random guy who was never professional, who never fought professionally, he would come and see me and give me advice. You know what? You should do this and this when you're in the octagon, when you're in a fight, you should do this and this. Try this next time. Like, of course you have the right to your opinion, but I mean, you guys understand how that's like. You're someone who never fought professionally. You're not a professional fighter. You had like maybe 2 or 3 fights at the most at like bars, and you're gonna go see a professional MMA fighter and tell him, oh, you know what? I saw your fight. You should have tried an uppercut. You should have tried the guillotine, whatever. So that's where it's a bit like it's not out of hate. I'm not saying it's out of hate, but it's more like, yo, bro, like you gotta know your place and know who you are compared to these guys who do fight professionally. So that happens a lot in sports. But the main point is the people who do that to those professionals, they're not doing it out of hate. They're mostly doing it out of love, and I guess you can say love, but just out of like curiosity and just wanting to say something. So that's not really out of hate. But in general, like I said, when you want to get criticism, go seek some people who will give you constructive criticism. That's the most important, because there is a lot of hate in this world. there are many people who are going to hate you and not like you just because you are who you are. That's something normal, and there's nothing you can do there, and you shouldn't really care about it. Shouldn't give a fuck. But if you like I said, no one's perfect. If you want to become better and better at something or at doing something, go seek someone who will give you constructive criticism. And then just because someone said something, even if it's out of love, and even if it's considered as constructive criticism, doesn't necessarily mean that you have to take that advice. You can listen to all advices. That's your advice. Okay, thank you. What's your advice? This. Okay, thank you. What's your advice? This. Thank you. But at the end of the day, what you will do, your actions, you decide your actions. No one can control you. You have your free will. So at the end of the day, you decide what you will do for your life, for your professional career, your personal career, whatever sphere of life you're looking to improve. You decide what action you will take and how you will improve that, and what action you will take. You will decide, but you can listen to everyone's advice as long as it's constructive criticism. And then at the end of the day, you are the captain of your soul. You decide. You are the captain of your life. No one can control you. You have your free will. You decide what you will do. Okay, guys. So yeah, okay, perfect. Trump, Donald J. Trump, and the United States of America. I just recently talked about Donald Trump as an individual, but let's talk about Donald J. Trump as a president. Yo, this is some top G move, badass shit he just did, bro. I ain't gonna lie, bro. Yo, who the actual hell wakes up in the morning and says, yo, let me kidnap a president? He literally kidnapped a president. That Maduro was talking all type of shit, like, yo, come and get me, blah, 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 blah. And Trump sent Delta Force One, and they fucking got his ass inside of hours, bro. It was fucking crazy. But my main point is, yo, what Trump did, that was badass. I ain't gonna lie. Like, if we're being honest, Maduro is a dictator, and he's a narco-traficante. He's a drug dealer. That's a fact. Of course, many people are hating on him. No, America shouldn't focus on other countries' politics. They shouldn't involve themselves in other people's countries and their politics, whatever. That's life. America being the most powerful country on planet Earth by miles, it is what it is. They'll do whatever they want to do if they can, right? Donald J. Trump and America can easily kidnap the president of Venezuela, can easily kidnap the president of Cuba, the dictator of Cuba, Raul Castro, can easily kidnap the president of Nigeria, of Serbia, but he cannot, not because he doesn't want to, but simply because he can't kidnap Vladimir Putin. Why? Because as powerful as America are, Russia are also really fucking powerful. So Trump, even if he wanted to kidnap Putin, he couldn't. If he wanted to kidnap the dictator of China, what's his name, Xi Jinping, he couldn't, not because he doesn't want to, but simply because he can't. When it comes between countries, I understand people saying that, oh, he shouldn't have done that, it's not nice, blah, blah, blah. When it comes between international relationships, there's not nice or bad, there's not good or wrong. There's simply who's more powerful and who's stronger. And America being America and Venezuela being Venezuela, that's why it was so easy for Delta Force One, for America, and for Donald J. Trump to kidnap Nicolas Maduro. That's why it was so easy. That's how it works. Maybe it's sad to say, maybe it's unfair, unjust, but that's how international affairs between countries work. If I'm more powerful than you, you're going to shut the fuck up and you're going to listen to me. Just like recently I saw a podcast of Andrew Tate, how he explained how countries, Andrew Tate talking all that shit, but I like him. He said there's top tier countries, top tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. Tier 1, you have America, China, Russia, meaning that America cannot do what they want to Russia, Russia cannot do what they want to America, China cannot do to Russia what they want, China cannot do to America what they want, and vice versa. That's a fact. Then you have tier 2 countries who aren't as powerful as those 3 countries, but they have good influence. France, Saudi Arabia, India, Germany, and other countries. They are tier 2 because they cannot impose the same power and will as America, China, and Russia. And the only reason why America, China, and Russia can and these other countries can't, it's not because they're smarter. The only reason why is because their military is more powerful. That's the only reason why. And at the end of the day, you can be you can have all the smartest people, you can have everything you want, all the technology. I mean, technology plays a big part in army and in military. But at the end of the day, the most important is brute force when it comes between countries. If my army is a million times stronger than yours, like America's army compared to Venezuela's army, America are going to do whatever they want to fucking do. That's how it fucking is. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm not saying it's the Christian way, whatever. I'm just saying that's how it is. So that's why Donald J. Trump easily kidnapped Nicolas Maduro. So where was I going with this? Yeah, I was going. So Andrew Tate, he said tier 1 countries, America, Russia, China. And then tier 2, he said like France, Saudi Arabia, who they have to like join in on either Russia, China, and America. Of course, the Western world are always going to join in on America. And then China and Russia are like, I'm not saying they're friends. I mean, I'm not saying they love each other, but they have a common enemy in America. That's how it is. And then you have top tier 3 countries who literally need to shut the fuck up and can't do anything. That's what Andrew Tate said. And that's a fact. I mean, there are some countries where Elon Musk has more money and power than certain countries. That's how fucked up it is. It is what it is. And then people hating on Donald J. Trump in America because they're going to take Venezuela's oil. Well, yeah, I mean, isn't that logical? So imagine you're playing a risk game, like the board game Risk, right? And you can conquer the other country. Of course, they're going to do it. If you can, you're going to do it, right? It's just logical. I'm not saying it's nice, good, Christian, whatever, but it's just logical. Of course, if Trump now if America technically now they control Venezuela, well, of course, they're going to take its oil reserves and its petrol and then make money out of it. That's the most logical thing I ever heard. Again, I'm not saying it's nice. I'm not saying it's Christian. I'm not saying it's just. I'm not saying it's fair. I'm just saying it's smart. It's a smart move. Smart doesn't mean, just because a move is smart doesn't mean it's a nice move. I'm just saying it's a smart move. And that's a really smart move. And if I'm being honest, you can't really hate on Trump and America for what they did to Venezuela. If you look at the streets in Venezuela, almost every single citizen from Venezuela was cheering and was celebrating that Maduro, who is a dictator and a narcotraficante, they were all cheering and thanking Trump for what he did. Many people from Venezuela were putting on masks with the face of Donald Trump, going in the streets, chanting, dancing, singing, having a party, having a blast, because now they are free from Nicolas Maduro's regime, a dictator and a narcotraficante. That's a fact. But if I might add also, like I already said, if you look at it smart, imagine you're Donald J. Trump and you're looking for the best of your national interest, for America's interest, because you are the president of the United States. You're not the president of the world. You're not God. You're not Jesus Christ. You're Donald J. Trump, president of the United States, and you're looking for the best interest for America. You just conquered, quote unquote, Venezuela. They have the biggest oil reserves on planet Earth. Like, it's a fact, like I have it here. Venezuela, the country, has an estimated 303 billion barrels, the world's largest proven reserve, but its oil production has been in decline since the early 2000s. The Trump administration sees significant potential for its own energy prospects in Venezuela's reserves. So, of course, like I said, put yourself in his shoes. You have to be smart, right? You're not here to be God. You're not here to play the judge of right and wrong. You're here to be smart for your country. You just conquered a country who has the most oil reserves on planet Earth. And you're telling me oil being oil making the money that it makes, oil having the power that it has in our modern world. You're telling me that you're just going to let it there because it's not nice? Because it's not what the UN wants you to do? Stop the fucking cap. We would all take it if we could. The only reason why Russia aren't taking it, the only reason why China isn't taking it, the only reason why Congo isn't taking Venezuela's oil is not because they're nicer, it's not because they're more humane, or because they think more about Venezuela's interests. It's simply because they cannot. The reason why America is doing it, it's not because they're meaner or more evil. It's simply because they can. That's the only difference. What a country can do and what a country cannot do. That's the only difference. Now, I have the news here regarding, so Trump says Venezuela will be turning over up to 50 million barrels of oil to US. If I'm being serious, if I'm being honest, America will probably dry out that country from its oil. Take everything out and just dry that country out. Donald Trump has said Venezuela will be turning over up to 50 million barrels of oil to the US after a military operation to remove President Nicolas Maduro from power. The oil, worth about $2.8 billion, will be sold at its market price. The US president wrote on social media, adding he would control the money raised and use it to benefit the people of Venezuela and the US. Of course, just the fact that he took out Maduro and now he's going to put in, I forgot her name, but she's going to be technically leading now Venezuela. That's already a plus and a positive move from Trump towards Venezuela and its citizens. But of course, he is going to take that money and help America also. Like, let's not be dumb. His comments come after he said the U.S. oil industry would be up and running in Venezuela within 18 months, that he expected huge investments to pour into the country. Analysts previously told the BBC it could take tons of billions of dollars and potentially a decade to restore Venezuela's former output. China, which has been the biggest buyer of Venezuelan oil in recent years, has condemned Trump's announcement, as well as the U.S. reported demands that Venezuela gives its oil exclusively to them. Of course, China are going to be pissed. They can play what they did wasn't moral, wasn't nice. They don't give a fuck what Trump did. They don't give a fuck what America did, it being nice or not nice. They're just pissed now that now America is controlling that oil and they're not going to be able to touch that oil anymore. That's the only reason why China are pissed. That's the only reason. ABC News has reported, citing unnamed sources, that Trump has told Venezuela's interim leader Delcy Rodriguez to agree to an exclusive partnership with the U.S. and oil production and severe economic ties with China, Russia, Iran, and Cuba. Trump posted on Truth Social on Tuesday, "I am pleased to announce that the interim authorities in Venezuela will be turning over between 30 and 50 million barrels of high-quality sanctioned oil to the United States of America. This oil will be sold at its market price, and that money will be controlled by me as President of the United States of America to ensure it is used to benefit the people of Venezuela and the United States." His comments came a day after Rodriguez, formerly Venezuela's vice president, was sworn in as its interim president. Maduro has been brought to the U.S. to face drug trafficking and weapon charges. The U.S. president told NBC News on Monday, having Venezuela that's an oil producer is good for the United States because it keeps the price of oil down. So you see, he did what's good for the United States of America. The oil price in America will go down because they'll have more oil. So that's good for America and its citizens. At the end of the day, Donald J. Trump is the president, not of the world, but of the United States of America. So he cares solely and mostly only about its interests and the citizens' interests of that country. That's his job. Then goes on to say, analysts superior spoke. They suggested that firms would look for reassurance that a stable government was in place, and even when they did invest, their projects would not deliver for years. Trump has argued in recent days that U.S. oil companies can fix Venezuela's oil infrastructure. The country has an estimated 303 billion barrels, the world's largest proven reserve, but its oil production has been in decline since the early 2000s. The Trump administration sees significant potential for its own energy prospects and Venezuela's reserves. Increasing the country's production of oil would be expensive for U.S. firms. Venezuelan oil is also heavy and more difficult to refine. There's only one U.S. firm, Chevron, currently operating in the country. And if I might add, from now on, only American companies and only Americans will be operating the oil from Venezuela in Venezuela, thanks to Donald J. Trump. Hate him or love him. As a person, I don't really love him because as a person, he is a liar, a cheat, a convicted felon, whatever. But what he did as a president of the United States in the time that we are currently, in my opinion, I'm really fucking happy he's here. I'm really fucking happy that we have 3 more years of him being the most powerful man on planet Earth, him being the leader of the most powerful country on planet Earth. I'm really fucking stoked. And we still have 3 years of him if he doesn't succeed with putting in law, in practice, that presidents have the right to run for a 3rd term. So far, it's only 2 terms that is possible for a U.S. president. If he doesn't, no problem. He still has 3 years. And after that, it's my boy, J.D. Vance, coming into power. Talking about America and how beautiful and prosperous it is, let's not forget that America was built by Englishmen, by Protestants, and by English settlers. America before was a big land filled with Native Americans. That's a fact. Before the English came, Native Americans, don't want to hate on it, but they didn't accomplish as much as the English did. They didn't innovate as much, and they didn't create and they just didn't innovate as much as Europeans and the English did. So when the English came here, when they established themselves, when they created the best country on planet Earth, they did this. English people created America. When they wrote the Constitution in 1776, the 4th of July, when they declared independence from the British Empire, the people who wrote that Constitution, which makes America the greatest country on planet Earth, freedom of speech, right to bear arms, the pursuit of happiness, and many other constitutional goods, the people who wrote that were people from English origins and who came from England, maybe not them personally, but their parents, their grandparents, and their previous generations. And one of the main reasons why America is so prosperous and such a good country and why it functions so well is because of capitalism, of course, because of liberty, freedom, and because of individualism. We highlight individualism here way more than, let's say, in China, in African countries, and many other countries. Here in America, in North America, and in the Western world, but more specifically America, the United States of America, it's all about who you are as an individual, what you will accomplish. It's about the American dream, right? That's what matters the most. But when an individual seeks out to accomplish the most that he can and to succeed the most that he can, in consequence, he helps that country grow through innovations, through inventions, and through many other things. That's how it works. When someone is selfish and only thinks about him succeeding and him accomplishing his dreams, when he wants to become the best version of himself, by consequence, if he wants it or if he doesn't want it, by consequence, it happens. He makes his country and his society a better place. Because, like Elon Musk once said, if you want to make a lot of money, find a problem that people have and find a solution to it. The bigger the problem, the bigger the solution. The bigger the solution to a bigger problem, the more money you're gonna make. It's as simple as that. Making money is all about solving problems that the common person has. It's all about solving problems that people have. That's how money is made. That's how you make a lot of money. So that's why, if I might add, the reason America was built on individualism, the reason England was built on individualism is all thanks to religion. It's all thanks to the Protestant faith, which is Christian. But the Protestant faith, what differs the Protestant faith from the Catholic faith, which are both Christian, the Protestant faith being newer and Catholic being way older than the Protestant faith, the Protestant faith is all about individualism and you becoming the best version of yourself. There are also cons to being Protestant, that some Catholics have better pros. There are pros and cons to both. But in my opinion, Protestants and Protestant societies built on Protestantism have more pros and cons than Catholic countries, in my opinion. And like I said, Protestantism, the difference is it's only between you and God. It's your individual relationship with God. On the other hand, Catholics, it's more of a group mentality and it's more of community mentality and community mindset. So if you want to talk to God, if you want to reach God, quote unquote, you have to pass by you have to go to church, you have to talk to a priest, and you have to talk to the community. It's all about community. It's all about having community and helping out the community, and you have to talk to the priest, you have to give money to the priest, you have to donate money to the church if you want to get your sins absolved and whatever. But Protestantism comes from the word protesting. It was people who protested that you have to talk to a priest, that there was a guy, the middleman between you and God. Protestants say that there's no middleman between you and God. It's all about you and your relationship with Jesus and God. So that's where the mentality of individualism, becoming the best version of yourself, comes from Protestantism. That's why capitalism comes from English people, comes from America, comes from the Western world, and comes from Protestantism. We learned this in school, studying in sociology. Capitalism comes from Protestantism. Of course, religion always played a big part in all of our societies. It's a fact of life. Like I said, the reason America is so great is thanks to capitalism. And the reason capitalism exists is because of Protestantism. That's a fact. If I might add, the English capitalists, the Western world, the English, especially the English and Americans, who are technically descended from England, and America is technically a country built by the English, They have brought the most to the world. I'm not saying they brought everything, but they brought the most. Capitalism and everything else, all the inventions, all the innovations, they brought the most. That's why they're so successful. And that's why America, if we fast forward to 2025, America 2026 actually, that's why they are the strongest country on planet Earth and the most competent and the most powerful country on planet Earth. And it's all thanks to capitalism, Protestantism, and individualism. Talking about social relationships, international relationships, when it comes to human relationships, we are way more similar than what we think we are. We're way more similar. Of course, someone can have a different skin color, different religious affiliations, different political affiliations, a different culture, different whatever. At the end of the day, we're all human beings. We're way more similar than we are different. Of course, when it comes between countries, that's politics, war, whatever. But when it comes to human beings, when you travel, the more you go to societies and to countries that you have no clue about and that is out of your comfort zone, where you feel like you're not in your place, the more you realize that we're actually way more similar than we are different. Like if you take a white guy from Canada and you put him in Madagascar, Black Africa, right? He's gonna find way more in common with those people than he's gonna find things not in common with those people over there. Because at the end of the day, we're all human beings. We all want to have fun. We all want to feel that we belong in a place. We all want to have sex. We all want to drink. We all want to have fun. We all want to accomplish the most that we can. We all understand, of course, there are some different values. But at the end of the day, when you take the globality of it, we all understand the difference between good and wrong, right and bad. Good and bad, right and wrong. We all understand the difference between those two in general, of course. Now, of course, different cultures may vary. Their idea of right and wrong, their idea of forgiveness, their idea of revenge, and many other different values and aspects of life. But in general, if you take the globality, we have way more in common, all human beings across the world, than we have things not in common. From personal experience, maybe I'm going to change my opinion, but from having traveled a lot across the world, that's what I realized, that we have way more in common than what we think we do. Having said that, of course, we have way more in common, but we remain tribal, meaning that's why we have borders, that's why we have countries, that's why we have closed borders, that's why we have different countries, different policies, different laws, different way of life, different culture, because we remain tribal. In general, let's take, for example, a white person in general will hang out with white people. A black person in general will hang out more with black people. A black person in general will get married to a black person. And in general, of course, a Christian person will higher chances of him marrying a Christian person. A Muslim person has more chance of him marrying a Muslim person. A Jewish person has more chance of him marrying a Jewish person. An Indian has more chance of him marrying an Indian. Of course, he can marry a white, a black, a whatever. But in general, we remain tribal. So we tend to flock with birds of the same feathers, meaning that if I'm a white Serbian living in Canada, there are bigger chances of me hanging around and wanting to hang around more with white Serbo-Canadians. It is what I'm not saying that's the case for everyone, but in general, that's how it works because we remain tribal. Next topic. All humans are good for going bad. Yo, Earth commence à 5? Ah, ok, je vais faire une heure. Ok, parfait. Écoute, je suis en train de... Ok, fait que moi, juste continuer avec... Ok, perfect. Okay, so guys, like I said, we remain tribal. And having said also before that we have way more in common than we have differences, this is something I learned in school when it came to which class was public relations. I forgot what, no, it wasn't. It was like politics or something. I forgot the name of the class, but we learned the English School of Thought. The English School of Thought, this is what it basically is. In conclusion, I'll go more deep into it. But in general, the English School of Thought means that, yes, the world is full of selfish people, of tribal communities, but even despite that fact, there is still room for cooperation and collaboration. Roughly, that's what this English School of Thought means. In my opinion, that's the best school of thought. That's the best way to life between countries. Yes, we understand that everyone is working for their best interest. We're all tribal. We all want the best for our people and our country. But even despite that fact, there is still room for cooperation and collaboration. That's the best way. If I go even more deep into it, the English school of thought in international relations posits that despite global anarchy, no world government, states form an international society bound by shared rules, norms, and institutions, acting as a middle ground between pure realism, power struggles, and idealism world community. Key figures like Martin White and Headley Bull argue that states driven by shared interests create institutions like diplomacy, international law, and the balance of power to manage their coexistence and maintain order, forming an anarchical society. Like I said, in general, we all want what's best for us, our people, and our country when it comes to international affairs, of course. But despite that, as many differences as we have between countries, cultures, and people, we have way more in common. And in general, we have the same sorts of norms and way of life. That's why, despite the fact that we're all primal, there is always room for cooperation and collaboration. It's a constructivist theory emphasizing shared culture and historical traditions, offering a holistic view of world politics. International systems, a realist view of competing states and anarchy. Hobbesian, international society, states sharing common rules, norms, and institutions. Grotian and rationalist, the school's primary focus. World society, a broader, often aspirational community of humankind transcending states. Kantian and revolutionist institutions, enduring practices and arrangements like diplomacy, law, balance of power, sovereignty, and markets that structure international relations. There's always the middle ground. Of course, everyone will always fight for their best interest, but there's always going to be a middle ground. And in my opinion, the middle ground is always the best way to go. And so just to conclude what I said, what I've been talking about for like the past 20 or 30 minutes, as different as we can be between human beings, societies, cultures, countries, we have way more in common than we have differences. As tribal as we can be, there is still room for cooperation and collaboration between human beings, between societies, between countries, and between governments. In my opinion, I talked about this many times on my podcast. In my opinion, all humans are born good and they tend to do bad actions because of their ego and because of many other reasons, because of their financial situation and many other reasons that can play a big factor into it. But I believe that all human beings, no matter what they do, if you were to ask someone who robbed the bank, what were your intentions? He would tell you that his intentions were good. I robbed the bank because I have 2 kids at home. My wife, I just lost my job. We don't have any money. The government isn't helping me. I don't have any family members who have money who can help me. So I robbed the bank because I needed money to feed my kids. Right, what he did was bad. He broke a law. What he did was illegal. He broke a law. He's a criminal. He robbed the bank. But his intentions, if you were to sit down with him and ask him his intentions, he did it out of love. He did it out of good intentions. That's why when someone does something bad, we from the outside who aren't in his shoes, we can look at that and say, what he did is bad. He's a bad person. Of course, what he did was bad, but is he a bad person? I mean, he did steal money from a bank, and that's the bank's money. Like, love or hate bankers. I know many people hate bankers because they make a lot of fucking money and they charge you interest. But at the end of the day, that person who created that bank and made that much money through interest and whatever, they didn't break any laws. They just found a really smart way to make a lot of fucking money and they fucking excel at it. So, I mean, what that person, the robber, what he did, it's a bad action, but his intentions, were they bad? Were they good? I mean, he wanted to feed his kids. So that's why, in my opinion, human beings are good. All actions that human beings do, in my opinion, they do it out of their own sense of what is right and wrong, what is good or bad. And we, of course, we all have our sense of what is right or wrong, good or bad. In general, I feel like it's pretty much the same for all human beings. So just because someone did a bad action doesn't necessarily mean he's a bad person, but that action remains bad, remains illegal. And when you break a law, I mean, technically, you're allowed to break the law. No one says you're not allowed to break the law. You're allowed to break the law, but there are consequences to your actions. No one can stop you from going and robbing a bank. You have your free will. But if you rob a bank and if you get caught, some people never get caught and hey, they just live life. If you get caught, there are going to be consequences to your actions. That's what laws are. Laws aren't there to prohibit you and to stop you from breaking them. I mean, it's up to debate. Of course, when you know what the consequences are, The consequences are put there. So in a way, it like demotivates you from wanting to break the law. Of course, it demotivates you, but it doesn't stop you. It doesn't put chains on your hands. It doesn't chain you to your house for the rest of your life. It just tells you what the consequences are if you are to do certain actions. So if you get caught, you're going to pay the price. So like I said, no one can stop you from robbing a bank. No one can stop you, but you're going to pay the consequences for your actions. And if I might be honest, in my opinion, if you want to truly understand how good human beings can be, I think you have to also truly understand how bad we can be. Same goes for understanding how good all the good we're able to do. If you want to understand all the good that we human beings are able to do, I think you have to, by consequence, understand all the bad that we're able to do. Because as good as we're capable of being human beings, we're also capable of being fucking devils, man, who doing the worst between each other and doing the worst to the world. I feel like you have to understand both sides in order to truly and fully comprehend only one side. You cannot just understand one side and not understand the other side. If you want to truly and fully comprehend one side, you have to understand both sides. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about Hollywood and movie makers. I'm a big cinephile, big cinephile. I was raised watching movies with my dad. He always used to bring me to the cinema. Martin Scorsese, mostly his movies that I love the most. His movies are fucking phenomenal. Guy Ritchie, Quentin Tarantino, the list goes on and on. Recently, in 2026, I saw a couple of movies, new movies. Marty Supreme, good movie, not phenomenal, but it's a good movie with Timothée Chalamet. Sinners was also a really good movie, not amazing, not phenomenal, but it's a good movie. And One Battle After Another with Leonardo DiCaprio, an amazing movie also, really good. It's not like the same, it's not like the old Hollywood, man. Hollywood before was way better than what it is right now. In my opinion, they make way better movies. Before, they used to make way better movies, way better TV show. Hollywood was way better. Of course, now maybe nowadays with social media being so popular, maybe people put more focus and energy and dedication on social media than they do with Hollywood acting and making movies. So I believe that's one aspect to why movies before were way better than they are now. But I also think that wokeism, DEI, affirmative action is also one of the reasons why Hollywood isn't what it used to be and why movies aren't as good as what they used to be. When you care too much about political affiliations, I mean, you make movies, you're an actor, you're an artist. You should only care about making your art the best art possible. That should be your main focus. But when you put competency, when you put skill, when you put quality to the side because you care more about political affiliations and about certain political groups, like I said, you put competence to the side, you put quality to the side. Of course, the movie is going to be less good of quality. Of course, you passed your message. Oh, we're not homophobic. We have a lot of gay people on this movie. Oh, we're not racist. The leading role is an Indian, is a black guy, whatever. You passed your message, yeah. But the movie, the art is shit. I mean, pass all the message you want. Pass all the messages you want. Pass. At the end of the day, making a movie is an art form. It's not a political statement. It's not a political affiliation. It's an art. Just like making a song, just like making a painting, just like making a drawing, whatever. It's an art. So when you put skill set to the side because you want to appease to a certain political to a political group and to a certain group of people, well, of course the quality will go down. Now, I'm not saying that you can make the most politically affiliated movie. You can put all the gays, all the transgenders, all the blacks, all the people of color and make a really good fucking movie. My point is the art, the quality of art should not be put to the side to compensate for a political message. You can have a political message in a movie. You can. Just like some songs have political messages. Some songs have social messages, social movements, whatever. But at the end of the day, it remains art. It has to be good. It has to be good quality or people won't listen to it. People won't watch it. Someone right now can make a song trash talking Serbians. But if that song is good, broski, I'm bumping that song. Yes, I understand the message behind it. But if that song is good, I'm listening to that song because the art is good. That's how it works. You can make a movie which has all the philosophies that I believe in, all the political affiliations that I affiliate myself with. You can have all of that. But if it's a shitty movie, it's a shitty movie. Why? Because it's a shitty fucking movie. The quality is bad. I don't care if your message aligns with my message on my podcast and it agrees with everything that I say. If the movie is shit, the movie is shit because the quality is shit. Like I said, one has nothing to do with the other. But when you substitute quality for a political message or a movement, then what's the point? It's not even art anymore. It's not even a movie. How are you going to sell tickets? What's the point of it? So you can keep the political affiliation, the political message behind it, the social message behind it, as long as you don't touch the quality and as long as you don't fuck with the storytelling and the quality of that movie. Because at the end of the day, like I said, it's an art form. It's art. Making a movie is art. And that's the most important, is making the best art you can, making the best movie you can, telling the best story that you can, writing the best song, singing the best song. That's the most important. So guys, that was it for this episode. See you next episode. Peace out.